Coming up, a man wanted out of Cherokee County, Kansas, is caught.
I-44 and south is going to be our problem area for the day. Also, too, a fair bit of fog. You cannot hide from anybody. We've got the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Uniontown reopens its fitness center to the public just in time for summer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, there's quite a bit of fog outside. Let's go straight to Michael Hazlett.
Yeah, there is, and I want to encourage everybody to slow down out there. Where you're going, I promise you will get there at your eventual destination, but take it easy and take my words. There's no reason to try to get there in a hurry, because it is a little dense out there, especially along Highway 69. And what we're seeing is visibility numbers that will continue to drop during the day. As far as our rain goes for this morning, isolated just south of I-44. We got a fair amount of lightning, especially if you look down to the south, coming out of the Joplin area, just down into not only Newton County, but into McDonald County as well. Very comfortable outside, I will say that, temperature-wise, because we knew, here's our problem. We knew it wasn't going to have much of a cool down, and that is what provides that instability. If you joined us yesterday at noon, you'll notice where we're seeing the warmer temperatures along and south of I-44 is where the thunderstorm activity is, compared to the high 40s that we're seeing up to the north, where it's actually not too bad. We have been able to drop our wind advisory. That is a great thing. As we press into the weekend, we continue to warm up. After we get through this afternoon, Tanya, we are in store for a delightful beginning to the weekend, with Friday being partly sunny skies and highs around 80. And remember, the majority of Saturday remains dry until thunderstorms kick back in during the nighttime hours. But if you have plans on Saturday morning, afternoon, it is going to be perfect.
All right. Finally, a good Saturday. Maybe I'll be able to get some of that mowing done. All right. All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, a man wanted in Cherokee County, Kansas for attempted murder is arrested after a police chase in Springfield, Missouri. And that man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says a male victim in that shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Multiple vehicle crash scatters 500 pounds of marijuana across the interstate. On Wednesday, 420, troopers say a semi swerved to avoid a previous crash on Interstate 70 east of Columbia, and that's when a pickup rear-ended the semi. A second semi then traveled off the left side of the road and struck the pickup. The crash injured 3 people in the pickup and scattered bags of marijuana across the interstate. Authorities charged 2 men with felony drug trafficking. They are set to appear in Montgomery County Court. This is a developing story. You can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com for more information as we continue to learn more. Well, there's a new marijuana dispensary in Ottawa County just in time for 420, the unofficial holiday of marijuana. Now, according to Canatech firm Akerna, marijuana sales are expected to hit $130 million, which would be up 16% from a year ago. The owner of State Line X1, John Thomas Buck, specifically chose 420 for his grand opening.
It's kind of a novelty holiday to some, but some, take it serious as a day to connect with the people they care about and having a good relaxing day, I believe, and I believe it's just growing as a day to actually see and look forward to in a holiday calendar.
Marijuana is legal for recreational use in Oklahoma. In Missouri, it's allowed only for medical use, and it is completely illegal in Kansas. On Wednesday, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signed budget legislation into law. It will set aside $500 million to deal with future financial problems, give state employees a 5% pay raise, and increase spending across state government. The bill contains the bulk of the state's $22 billion plus budget for the 12 months beginning July 1st, aside from money for the state's public K-12 schools. Well, 15-year-olds in Kansas will be able to drive themselves to and from worship services and other religious activities starting in July. Kansas Governor Kelly signed a bill to expand driving privileges for holders of restricted licenses. The law already allows 15-year-olds to drive by themselves to and from work. The change will allow them to drive to and from religious activities from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Folks in Uniontown, Kansas, looking to get in shape for swimsuit season now have a new option. The school district has reopened the Uniontown Fitness Center. It was closed to the public because of COVID. Now it's open before and after school during the week and all day on weekends. A key to access cost $10. Officials say the benefits reach the entire community.
There's a lot of education research about, the value of, physical activity and, keeping minds and bodies active, go hand in hand. So it's good for our kids, but it's also good for everybody. And again, we're in a service industry. And
Fitness Center is on the southeast corner of the junior and senior high school. A local florist is selling sunflowers to raise money for Ukraine. The national flower for Ukraine is a sunflower. So Higdon's florist in Joplin is collaborating with Samaritan's Purse to raise money for Ukraine by selling sunflowers. You can add one or more to your purchase of any arrangement. Proceeds will go to help Ukraine.
A fantastic opportunity for, even on the local level, for us to support the efforts in number one, Samaritan's Purse, and the events that are going on internationally in Ukraine.
Additional sunflowers will cost $5 per stem. Well, some areas of the world could be heading toward an insect apocalypse. This is Michael's favorite. Researchers at the University College London released a new study looking at 20 years of data from more than 6,000 locations. They also studied nearly 18,000 insect species, including butterflies, grasshoppers, dragonflies, and bees. Researchers found that extreme land use combined with warming temperatures are pushing some insect ecosystems towards collapse. Some areas around the world have already seen a nearly 50% drop in insect populations, with the number of species cut by 27%. Study's lead author says losing insect populations would threaten global food production. Scientists also say they don't know when the point of no return is, but the findings could be the tip of the iceberg due to limited data in some regions. I do believe that mosquitoes do not have an issue with this, though.
I'm going to go with, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Mother Nature does a great way, sometimes
Finds a way.
in ways that mankind may not like, but Mother Nature does a great way of figuring stuff out, and that she finds a way to make sure the insects survive.
Yeah.
Like I said, mankind may not like the way it turns out, but
We've all seen Jurassic Park.
boom, boom, boom.
Oh, that's so pretty, butterflies behind you.
I know, and that was it was a perfect timing to do that.
But I will say that, this is the week to get the rain, which leads to standing water, which leads to mosquitoes, which seem to not have a problem existing.
Or you could take a positive spin and go, April showers lead to Mayflowers. What do Mayflowers bring?
Happy Tanya?
Pilgrims. Still got the rain and lightning just south of I-44. Now stretching into northeast Oklahoma as well. So we're going to roll from Ottawa County all through Newton and McDonald County. And that lightning just packed a punch there in the last 5 minutes alone. That's all that is. That is just a 5-minute span of lightning. Remove that, talk about the torrential rainfall right along the county line right there in between Neosho and Pineville. And that's why we're going to end up picking up more than an inch of rain here by the time we get into the afternoon hours. No warnings, watches, or advisories. We'll call that a good sign. 7-day forecast. After the rain is done, say, late morning, because we're still going to roll sporadic today. Hey, luckily we stayed out of the way of anything hectic last night. After the sporadic rain is done, highs in the 70s, 80s for tomorrow.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Webb City athletes signed to continue their collegiate career. We'll take a look. Plus, a Paralympic athlete's medals are stolen from his car. Through the power of social media, they are returned. And today we want to know, have you ever been the victim of a crime? Donating blood has benefits to not only the people who need it the most, but to you as well. We'll explain. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
It was a big day for a group of Webb City High School student athletes. 8 of them, 8 seniors, they signed to continue their careers at the college level. Now in that group, Eric Fitch, he signed to play baseball at State Fair Community College in Sedalia, Missouri. Fitch, a first-team All-COC pick last year and All-District selection. There's Josie Spikert. She's headed up to Ozark Christian. She's going to play basketball. I had a football signing as well. Skylar Denton, he's going to Springfield where he will play tight end for Evangel.
They were very friendly towards me, you know, they showed me around and basically they told me I would fit in and I felt like I fit in. I felt like it was home since the first time I stood on the campus.
My dad actually works at Ozark, so it's been fun to get to grow up going to games there since I was really little, and I've grown up going to summer camp there since I was 6 years old. So it's cool that I've gotten the opportunity to do that and then now get to go play there. I never thought this day would come.
So this summer I actually got the chance to play with Coach Day, the assistant coach at State Fair, and he introduced me to the campus and he took me and some teammates on a tour there, and I really liked it. They got some new stuff. It looks really good. They got a new upcoming team and they're killing it right now, so it looks good for next year.
Congratulations to Josie and Skylar and Eric and the other 5 commits as well, and their parents. That means, I know that means a lot to you. You can check out more of our interviews. In fact, talk to just about everybody with the Webb City signees. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Joplin High School with a new head softball coach is a school named Brendan Schneider, the new leader of the program. Schneider, an assistant coach for the baseball team for the last 5 years, but certainly no stranger to the softball program. He's previously been an assistant softball coach for 3 of those 5 seasons. Now, for the first time, gets his shot at being a head coach at Joplin High School.
With Coach Flores, he's done such a great job here. Really respected him, and I worked with him for a while and just loved everything that he did. And so this is my home. You know, I've been here for 5 years. We moved down here for my wife to be the head softball coach, and I've grown to love the place. And this was kind of one of those things when it came open, I just had to jump at it. So I was very excited, and thankfully I was picked for the job.
As we told you yesterday, Riverton head coach, football coach Johnny Mallett announcing his retirement. Mallett spent the last 6 years as the Rams head coach. It's his second stint with the program, but he's been coaching in the 4 states for the last 50 years. That's right, half a century. Johnny Mallett's been a coach around here. 43 at the prep level and then 7 years on the college level. And 41 of those 43 years in high school have been right here in our backyard. Galena, Baxter Springs, Riverton. We caught up with Coach Mallett talking about his retirement and meeting with the team at Riverton for the final time.
I told the kids, I said, some coaches, when they leave, they'll look over their shoulder and they don't see much coming. And then sometimes they might go on to the greener pastures. That's not my case, I said, because, we've got a lot of good young kids coming up. And that makes it even a little harder for me, because I'd like to be part of their success. But they're going to be resilient, and then hopefully we've got a little tradition going. And then, but I told Chad Harper, our principal, I said, 6 years ago, I said, when we get the program going in the right direction, that's when I'm going to be stepping down. So I think they were ready for it.
Once again, congratulations to Coach Mallett. Thank you for everything you've done. He's one of the nicest people that you're going to run into, especially when you're a young sports reporter. Johnny Mallett has been absolutely amazing. St. Louis Cardinals, winners of 3 of the last 4 games, including Game 1 of a 3-game set against the Florida Marlins. Cards hit the field for Game 2 against Miami, looking to secure the series win, and the Cardinals win it 2-0. Miles Michaelis, 5 shutout innings, allowed just 4 hits, also struck out 5. Nolan Arenado continues to rake. 2-run home run in the 9th. Happened to be the only runs in the entire game. In the American League, Royals hosting the Twins, Game 2 of that series, looking for a 3rd straight win. Another 2-0 winner right there. Daniel Lynch, 5 shutout innings for KC, gave up 4 hits, had a pair of strikeouts. Lynch and Michaelis almost having identical box scores right there. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a 400-year-old painting is found hidden in a storeroom. We're going to give you the details on that and a check on our 7-day forecast for the KOAM Morning News returns. A couple factors at play on this Thursday morning. Number one, we got some fog to deal with because our temperature's nice and warm and our humidity, look at that, 93% over 7th and Rangeline. And so when you factor those two things at play together, yeah, our visibility will continue to drop. Fog tracker right now showing visibility less than a mile through portions of central and northern southeast Kansas, and even through southwest Missouri. Those numbers are going to get worse, and that is exactly why we have a dense fog advisory in effect all the way until 10 a.m. and combo that with a little flood warning down to the south as well, especially right here, right along the Newton-McDonald County line where we've got the torrential rain coming down. Throw the lightning tracker up there. If we were to go back, say about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to give you an idea. Yeah, look at that amount of strikes that thing is packing. That is not kidding around. And so the flood warning, that will last until 10:15. Hopefully we can alleviate that sooner than later. A look at future track will show us that the rain is going to be sporadic for the rest of the morning. A little bit more widespread too than what we're having right now as it works in from the south. But then, eventually we're going to drop this off by the afternoon hours. And after that, really looking like a great start to the weekend. Warm temperatures, partly sunny skies on Friday up into the 80s, most of Saturday on the dry side as well, until the rain kicks in Saturday night and leads us into Sunday. Time now to our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, our morning Insta poll. Gold medals. All right, they were stolen. Not just from any Olympian, a Paralympian. Stolen from a Paralympian's vehicle over the weekend. Luckily, they've been recovered. They were stolen from three-time U.S. sled hockey team medalist Jen Lee's car. Now, Lee posted video of the burglary on Twitter, asking for help to get the medals back. Social media users were outraged, rightfully so, and that may have helped bring about a resolution. The medals were left at a fire station and discovered the next day, and the suspect arrested. Farah Sabawi with the story.
Some things that just people off, and this tweet and what this perpetrator did a lot of people off.
Chief McManus says a snapshot of Rogelio Solis, the man arrested in this case, was sent to their fusion center for identification. But without the horde of social media shares, this quick of a resolution wouldn't have been possible.
If this individual who broke into Mr. Lee's car was either following this or had people that he knew that were following this and saw how it was exploding on Twitter, I think that's why the backpack was left where it was.
The backpack with Jen Lee's gold medals from his time on the U.S. men's sled hockey team was found at a San Antonio fire station the day after they were stolen from the rim. Today, the U.S. Marshals Service Lone Star Fugitive Task Force arrested Rogelio Solis on charges involving theft and burglary of a vehicle. He was found near Roosevelt Avenue and 410. Lee, a veteran and three-time Paralympian, says he's beyond thankful to have his medals back.
There's a good chance I was ready to prepare for a replica medal, and then it's great to have it, but it's going to be definitely different because these are right there on, when we won it, right on the ice, So definitely just. Still soaking it all in right now.
Now, talk about timing being everything in life. Lee got the medals back because him and his teammates, they're headed to the White House to be congratulated upon their gold medal win coming up here next month. That brings us to our Something to Talk About, asking if you have ever been the victim of a crime. A couple ways to connect, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new study sheds light on the benefits of donating blood. According to research published in JAMA Network Open, donating blood regularly can cleanse the bloodstream of PFAS chemicals, also known as forever chemicals, made of plastics often found in food packaging at major fast food chains. Now, these chemicals can pose harmful side effects. They've been associated with fetal weight loss, asthma, thyroid disease, and other lung diseases. Researchers studied the blood of Australian firefighters who donated blood and plasma over 12 months. Firefighters are more exposed to PFAS chemicals than the average person, making them a perfect case study for the research. Antidepressants might not be a full cure for those battling with depression. A new research from Saudi Arabia finds medication does not necessarily boost mental health in the long run. Analysts studied the diagnosis of 17.4 million people with depression for 2 years. with 58% of them taking antidepressants. They found although the medication improved mental well-being, it did not greatly better patients' physical and mental health when compared to those who did not take any drugs. Scientists say further research is needed to seek for an all-natural alternative to treat depression. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Temperatures right now not too bad whatsoever, but because we have a warm Thursday morning and we've got humidity up to about 90% at Joplin Regional Airport, just one indicator that it is very damp outside, has led us to dense fog advisories. Our visibility number is going to continue to decrease as we work through the morning. And when I say decrease, we're already to a point where we're below a mile of visibility throughout the majority of southeast Kansas. This gives you an idea of the counties that are in that dense fog advisory, but I will tell you this much, it's going to be pretty much spread out no matter where you are. Then, as we drop down into the southern portion of the 4 states, especially along the Newton-McDonald County line, you see the green right there. That's a flash flood warning because we got a fair amount of rain coming down as well. We'll break down exactly what we've got for the rest of the day as more rain works in from the west right after this.
Coming up, a man wanted out of Cherokee County, Kansas, is behind bars.
We've got rain in the forecast for this morning. Fight off the fog, but then get ready for a delightful 4-state weekend. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Uniontown reopens its fitness center to the public just in time for summer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:30. I'm Tanya Buck. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, we've got quite a bit of fog outside.
Do you want to peel back the curtain? Are we allowed to do that right now?
Of course.
Okay, so during the commercial break, Tanya and I like to go through headlines going around nationally to see what else is going on in the world. Kid you not, Florida bride and caterer charged with lacing wedding food with cannabis to the point where attendees that did not know that they were eating, here's my favorite part, lasagna, is what they laced it with.
Oh, it wasn't the cake.
It was not the cake, it was the lasagna.
I assumed it was the cake. Oh.
Guess.
That is not basil in that lasagna.
Guests told deputies they felt weird, tingly, fidgety, and had an extremely dry mouth after eating the lasagna. Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen would never do that to you folks.
No, he would
I
not.
promise you that.
No.
So that is exactly what we do during commercial breaks. Current conditions over 7th and Range Line, 59 degrees, but that high humidity is really going to play a factor for this morning because the warmer you get and you combo that humidity is going to lead to problems with dense fog. Our visibility numbers sinking below a mile throughout much of southeast Kansas and even throughout southwest Missouri, especially where you look up into Veda and Stockton. We will see those numbers continue to decrease to the tune of a dense fog advisory for our counties in gray. Combo that with some morning thunderstorm activity, especially down to the south. We'll just go ahead and remove the sweeping radar, talk about exactly what we're looking at as far as what's hitting the ground. Torrential rainfall there in McDonald County and stretching up to the Newton County line, and that will bring us a flash flood warning that lasts until 10:15. That's the area that we're going to monitor the most this morning to make sure any roads that are closed, any storm reports that we get out of that area, that we're able to pass those along because that's going to be a tad bit of a mess. Temperatures today, mid-70s. Rain should be done, though, by early afternoon. After that, we get to sit back, take a deep breath, and relax. Get ready for a marvelous Friday. Highs around 80 degrees, partly sunny skies. Take us into a weekend with the rain on Saturday. It doesn't begin until the evening hours. So all day, all morning, all afternoon Saturday, we're good to go.
I do have a question about your lace lasagna story.
Hey, oh, no, you are going to ask about the lasagna. Thank
Yes.
goodness I didn't close that. It's CNN.com, folks, by the
Did
way.
it
Just so you know, I didn't
happen?
make this story up.
Was the wedding set for yesterday, 420, or did the charges come down on 420?
Wow! What a
curious.
great question by you.
Yeah. Because and did the bride spend her
You know what?
Did the bride spend her honeymoon
I'm so going to disappoint
locked
you
up?
on
Yeah.
this. It was actually last weekend.
last weekend?
Story's just coming out. But yeah. So, what was that, the 15th and 16th? Yeah.
But it
Did
might
she
have
spend
been
her honeymoon what? Behind bars?
Probably not, because they
she
didn't have the charges yet.
She just got like arrested yesterday. I think it took them a while to like investigate. We do not know how much lasagna was consumed. Stay away from lasagna, folks.
I do.
Lasagna.
I can assume that there weren't very many leftovers.
Of all things, lasagna.
Yeah.
I was with you. I'm like, oh, what did you? They laced the cake. Did everybody know? Blah blah blah. Was it a big joke? No, laced lasagna. Didn't tell anybody.
Huh. There you go.
And how unsurprised are you? Where did this happen?
Florida.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
All right. Well, speaking of marijuana stories on 420.
Okay.
A multiple vehicle crash scattered 500 pounds of marijuana across the interstate yesterday. On Wednesday, 420, troopers say a semi swerved to avoid a previous crash on I-70 east of Columbia, Missouri. And that's when a pickup rear-ended that semi. A second semi then traveled off the left side of the road and struck the pickup. The crash injured 3 people in the pickup and scattered bags of marijuana across the interstate. Authorities charged 2 men with felony drug trafficking. They are set to appear in Montgomery County Court. Of course, this is a developing story, and you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com to get more information as we continue to learn more. Well, a man wanted in Cherokee County, Kansas for attempted murder is arrested after a police chase in Springfield, Missouri. That man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says a male victim in that shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Aviation manufacturer Bombardier announces Wichita will be the home of its U.S. headquarters. The company has cited a skilled workforce along with the Wichita Service Center and its world-class flight test center programs for the decision. Several state officials were on hand for the announcement. Joe Baker has more.
This is a special place, and I sometimes think Kansans don't recognize it. But the assets we have in space, in defense, and in commercial aircraft exceed every place else in the world.
Bombardier starting a new era, making Wichita its U.S. headquarters location.
This is a huge day for Wichita, especially for Bombardier Defense. It really does mean a whole lot to us to launch the new business here in the air capital of the world.
Some aviation workers lost their jobs due to the pandemic. However, Bombardier has opportunities waiting in the wings.
Across Bombardier nationwide, it's 500 jobs, but in Wichita specifically, it's 200 jobs. And we're looking at engineers, at technicians, at pilots, at program managers, the full range of opportunities.
Bombardier also announced details of a deal with the U.S. Air Force to modify business jets in Wichita.
We thank you for the work that each and every one of you do to advance Bombardier and advance Kansas's role in the protection of our country and of our allies.
Bombardier will also establish a scholarship at Wichita State University to promote a future workforce in aviation. The Miami Fire Department held a barbecue fundraiser yesterday to help pay for the restoration of a fire truck that's been part of the department since 1946. When it's restored, the truck will be used in parades and other traditions in Miami. People in the community say the truck symbolizes the longevity of the fire department and honors the men and women who've been a part of it.
It just totally amazes me that they took on the project. I know it's going to be done, and it's a thrilling thought just to know it's up and going to be going.
They are trying to raise $15,000. Well, folks in Uniontown, Kansas, looking to get in shape for swimsuit season now have a new option. The school district has reopened the Uniontown Fitness Center. It was closed to the public because of COVID, and now it's open before and after school during the week and all day on weekends. A key to access it costs $10.
In general, we want it open. We want parents and people to enjoy the space and contribute to their own mental and physical health.
Not say for. The fitness center is located on the southeast corner of the junior and senior high school. This morning, we are talking about crime. Jin Lee's medals were stolen right out of his car. He's a Paralympian, who's won multiple gold medals competing for the U.S. sled hockey team. The person who stole them, Rogelio Solis, left them outside of a firehouse. After hearing, of course, about this on social media, the case was solved. The Paralympian shared his story on Twitter, and the internet worked fast to try and get them back. Now, Lee was happy just to have them back in his possession. That brings us to our something to talk about. Have you ever been a victim of a crime? Simple yes and no answer. Let's see, currently we've got 82% of respondents saying yes, they have been a victim. Wish that number was much lower, but it appears to be the case. That is a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, a World War II soldier's remains are identified and given a Purple Heart. Plus, Russia tests a new intercontinental ballistic missile. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, Russia released video of an intercontinental ballistic missile test as it pressed forward with its new offensive in the Donbas region of Ukraine. Russia says the missile was launched Wednesday afternoon from a Cosmodrome in northern Russia, traveling across the country to a test site in the Far East. The RS-28 Sarmat missile, sometimes called the Satan II, was revealed back in 2016. It's designed to replace the Soviet-era model, and Russia claims it can carry multiple nuclear warheads. It has a range of more than 6,800 miles, making it potentially capable of striking the U.S. Senior U.S. defense official still says the launch was not something that would be done by responsible nuclear power in the current tense environment. We'll have more on the Russian-Ukrainian war in our 6 o'clock hour. Experts say a lost 400-year-old Dutch master painting found hidden away in a storeroom in Australia could be worth millions of dollars. The work, called simply Still Life, was found amongst many works in a storeroom of what is now a museum owned by the National Trust of Australia. Spokesperson said they were left breathless by the surprise discovery of the 17th century painting. Its origins are still under investigation, but it is being attributed to the son of one of the great masters of the Dutch Golden Age, painter Wilhelm Claes Haiti. A painstaking restoration project returned luster to the faded, centuries-old creation, preparing the elusive masterwork to be re-revealed to the world as part of an upcoming Australian Heritage Festival. Can't wait to see that. Well, deadly small plane crash in Haiti. 5 people died and several others injured after the aircraft crashed in the capital of Port-au-Prince. The plane was on its way to the city of Jasmel when it attempted to land and hit a truck. Regional Police Commissioner says the driver of the truck is one of the people who were killed. The pilot was taken to the hospital. His condition is unknown at this time. 5 people in total were said to be aboard the plane. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Man wanted in Cherokee County, Kansas for attempted murder is arrested after a police chase in Springfield, Missouri. That man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says a male victim in the shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. On Wednesday, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signed budget legislation into law. It will set aside $500 million to deal with future financial problems, give state employees a 5% pay raise, and increase spending across state government. The bill contains the bulk of the state's $22 billion plus budget for the 12 months beginning July 1st, aside from money for the state's public K-12 schools. And 15-year-olds in Kansas will be able to drive by themselves to and from worship services and other religious activities starting in July. Governor Kelly signed a bill to expand driving privileges for holders of restricted licenses. The law already allows 15-year-olds to drive by themselves to and from work. The change will allow them to drive to and from religious activities from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. On Wednesday, the Miami Fire Department held a barbecue fundraiser to help pay for the restoration of a fire truck that's been part of the department since 1946. When it's restored, the truck will be used in parades and other traditions in Miami. People in the community say the truck symbolizes the longevity of the fire department and honors the men and women who've been a part of it. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Temps are looking good right now, but as far as what we're seeing on the threat weather-wise, we've got some heavy rain coming down in between Newton and McDonald County. This thing is packing a punch, not only with torrential rainfall, but also lightning strikes. That's in the last 5 minutes, that one right there. If we were to roll back about 30 minutes, which we can do, that'll give you an idea of just how impressive that lightning has been right there. And remember, that is a major threat. We've been through this here time and time again as this spring with lightning strikes causing structure fires. And while there's nothing that we can do to avoid the lightning, best advice is, hey, don't go outside. You know, keep the pets in as well. That's also where we're looking at flash flood warnings right there, because we're going to easily cruise over an inch of rain by the time it's said and done. Also, on top of that, places where it's not raining, and you just saw that move off to the east a little bit. In our places where it's not raining, we then have dense fog advisories, especially for the northern portion of the 4 states where our visibility has dipped below a mile. Our weather trend for today, because it is so warm and because it is so damp, humidity around 90% right now, that is why we have the fog. It's still going to be delightful, and we should be done with this rain, say, late this morning. It should be like our last go-around with it, and we're in store for just a really, really nice beginning to the weekend. So there we are. We're kind of lingering, but we're turning that into showers. Nothing severe after the late morning hours, and a Friday that's shaping up to be up into the 80s with partly sunny skies. Now Saturday, we do have a little rain that kicks in, but that won't be until the nighttime. It'll take us into Sunday with a little bit cooler temps on the backside of it for our afternoon highs. But our overnight lows still not too bad. So if you've got Saturday morning or early afternoon plans, certainly do not plan on changing them because of Mother Nature as well. Get outside and enjoy it. It's going to be wonderful. We'll be back with more KOAM morning news right after this.
An Army soldier's last known whereabouts somewhere in August of 1944 in France. Now, almost 80 years later, he's been awarded a Purple Heart. Dave Spencer has the story.
I never thought I'd see the day.
History, heroism, and a long-awaited homecoming, all inside a Farmington Hills condo.
They didn't go over there for nothing. We finally got them back and we're bringing them home.
First Sergeant Chris Babel is tasked with finding soldiers missing in action. Some call it solving mysteries.
I call it providing closure to bloodlines, that finally we got that person back.
Yeah. That person being Private Al Rickey, who at 29 years old stormed the Normandy beaches on June 6, 1944, and who was last seen alive 2 months later, helping to liberate a French city, but never returned to base for dinner and presumed to be killed in action. After all these years, the heroic deeds recognized with medals and honors, including the Purple Heart and Bronze Star.
This has to be done for exceptional and valorous and heroic actions during the war.
His daughter Mary Ellis was just 4 years old when she last saw her father. Even after all this time, she can picture him carrying her younger sister
on his shoulder going down the stairs. And I see that as clear as if it happened today.
This past September, she gave a DNA sample to the Army. Then just last week came a phone call.
I said, "Excuse me, are you telling me that they have located him?" And he said, "Yes, we have matched his DNA. We've identified him."
Now she and the rest of her family have answers, and soon they will attend a funeral for Private Al Rickey with full honors, where Mary Ellis and other surviving members of the family can say goodbye.
I love you. I miss you.
He'll be home at last. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast.
A couple things are problematic on this Thursday morning. One of those is visibility, as our fog tracker numbers, especially for the northern portion of southeast Kansas, now dipping below a mile. In fact, Girard registering at 0.0. Point being that when you do take off, because our fog advisories last until 10 a.m., Number one, a lot of distance between you and other drivers. Number two, remember, low beams. Low beams is all you need. You put those high beams on, and you kind of defeating the purpose there. It's just going to reflect right back at you. Give you an idea of the expanse of our dense fog advisories. Those are indicated in the gray area, lasting all the way until 10 a.m. Kind of back it out here. You can tell that fog. Look at this. Lasts all the way up to Minnesota. Now, we've also got a little green as far as our watches and warnings go. That is an indicator of flash flood warnings right along the McDonald and Newton County line, and then stretching into Barry County as well, because as we advance the Skywatch storm tracker, we're going to see torrential rainfall coming down in that exact area, and we're going to easily cruise over an inch of accumulation this morning in just the next hour or so alone. It also is packing a great punch of lightning with it as it moves off to the east. Now, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it, so we'll call that a positive aspect and kind of break down our situation as we head into the weekend when we return right after this.
Coming up, authorities capture a suspect wanted for attempted murder in Cherokee County.
One more day of thunderstorm activity after we get through this and the fog. Actually, a delightful weekend ahead, and we'll break it down from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Uniontown Fitness Center opens its doors so you can get back in shape.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Buck. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
It's almost humid outside.
It is.
Yeah, almost damp, if you will, and that humidity is leading to big fog problems. Before we talk about the fog, let's talk about what we're looking at thunderstorm-wise, especially right in between Newton and McDonald County, now stretching into Barry County as well, and that's a result of some flash flood warning, well, results in flash flood warnings. And what we'll do here is we look at our precipitation accumulation from this little time period alone, last 24 hours, and see that pink right there? Right in the middle of the county line. Yeah, that is not a joke. We're going to see some county roads that are already underwater, and we're keeping up with the Department of Transportation pages right now to inform you if any roads are eventually closed. Do that, and the rest of us are in dense fog advisories because our visibility numbers are just about nil right now. As a matter of fact, speaking of visibility, look up there around Girard, Parsons, Chanute. We're talking about one of those where it's hard to see the cars outside the parking lot. So number one, of course, slow down. Number two, low beams. That's the key factor. Low beams, not your high beams. Just going to reflect right back at you. 7-day forecast though, Tanya, after we're done with the rain, say about late morning hours is when we'll kick that out. We're going to have great temperatures today, be up in the mid 70s, and tomorrow, partly sunny skies and 80 degrees. That is really hard to beat.
Yeah, you can't complain about that at all.
Saturday,
Yeah.
The rain doesn't kick in until the evening, nighttime hours. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon are going to be delightful.
Yeah. Sounds like we have some more mowing opportunities in there for this week.
Right, for those of you that may not have used your hour, your window yesterday to get your yard mowed. I
had things come up.
You have another window of opportunity for Friday into Saturday.
Okay. Try to work that in there. All right.
Why do I have a feeling we're going to be having the same conversation on Monday? When you're going to be asking me, Michael, when's my window of opportunity to get the yard mowed?
I've got to get it. I've got people coming to town.
Oh!
I've got to get it done.
Wait, hold on, folks.
My deadline is 2 p.m. Saturday.
Folks, let's dive deeper. Is it family coming into town? Yes?
Yeah.
Let's dive even deeper. Is it mom and dad coming into town?
Mom, my brothers, and my sister.
Oh, it'll get mowed, folks.
Yes.
Mark my words.
Mm-hmm.
It will get mowed.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Tanya out there sweating in the heat of Friday afternoon, but if I know it's mom and family, it's going to get mowed.
Well, 81 is not sweltering heat. I can handle that. That'll be lovely mowing weather.
But you're defeating my visual, my theater of the mind that I'm trying to put forth. And please,
the problem is now it's going to be like a double pass.
I know, and I do want you in jeans and a long sleeve t-shirt or long sleeve shirt and gloves
And I am picturing you with a bandana.
Bandana.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'm leaving everybody with that visual. And you're trudging. Like there's not even satisfaction in what you're doing. You're just trudging and you're mad at me. It's truer than you know, folks. It is
All right, we're going to
truer
move
than
along
you know.
here. We're going to move along. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, police capture a man wanted for attempted murder in Cherokee County after leading them on a chase in Springfield, Missouri. That man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says a male victim in that shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Multiple vehicle crash scatters 500 pounds of marijuana across the interstate. On Wednesday, 4/20, troopers say a semi swerved to avoid a previous crash on Interstate 70 east of Columbia. That's when a pickup rear-ended the semi. A second semi then traveled off the left side of the road and struck the pickup. The crash injured 3 people in the pickup and scattered bags of marijuana across the interstate. Authorities charged 2 men with felony drug trafficking, and they're set to appear in Montgomery County Court. You can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com for the latest information. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signs budget legislation into law. It'll set aside $500 million to deal with future financial problems, give state employees a 5% pay raise, and increase spending across state government. The bill contains the bulk of the state's $22 billion plus budget for the 12 months beginning July 1st, aside from money for the state's public K-12 schools. And Governor Kelly also signed a bill to expand driving privileges for holders of restricted licenses. Now, 15-year-olds in Kansas will be able to drive by themselves to and from worship services and other religious activities starting in July. The law already allows 15-year-olds to drive by themselves to and from work. The change will allow them to drive to and from religious activities from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Well, if you've been looking for an excuse to get back in shape before summer, here it is. The school district in Uniontown, Kansas has reopened the Uniontown Fitness Center. It was closed to the public because of COVID. Now it's open before and after school, during the week, and all day on weekends. A key to access it costs $10. Officials say the benefits reach the entire community.
There's a lot of education research about, the value of physical activity and, keeping minds and bodies active, go hand in hand. So it's good for our kids, but it's also good for everybody. And again, we're in a service industry. And
Fitness Center is on the southeast corner of the junior and senior high school. A local florist is selling sunflowers to raise money for Ukraine. The national flower for Ukraine is a sunflower, so Higdon's florist in Joplin is collaborating with Samaritan's Purse to raise money for Ukraine by selling sunflowers. You can add 1 or more to your purchase of any arrangement. Proceeds will go to help Ukraine. The Biden administration is expected to announce another round of military funding for Ukrainian fighters as they try to defend against the Russian invasion. According to the president, weapons and ammunition head to Ukraine on a regular basis. The U.S. has already given more than $2.5 billion in military assistance. Moscow continues to flex its own military muscle as it test launches a new type of nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile. Putin says his adversaries must now, quote, think twice before threatening Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is willing to talk with Putin, even though he believes Russia does not want a peace settlement. This as a commander defending Mariupol says the city has just days or hours left before falling. Can you believe it's already been 6 years since Prince Rogers Nelson, simply known as Prince, was found dead in Paisley Park, his Minnesota home and recording studio. 1978, when he was 20 years old, Prince signed his first record contract with Warner Brothers. That same year, released his debut album, For You. Prince's sixth studio album, Purple Rain, spent 24 consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, spawning two hit singles. It won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance and sold 13 million copies. In October of 2016, 6 months after Prince's death, Paisley Park opened to the public for tours. Also in 2016, Prince's estate sold more albums than any other artist that year, dead or alive. The cause of death was an accidental overdose of the opioid fentanyl. He was 57 years old.
To give people an idea about how breaking news works and what we do here at the station, Tanya and I were on air during the KOAM News at Noon, and it came over CNN first, and I was sitting right here, and Tanya and I were in the middle of a show, and I looked at Tanya and I said, "Prince died." And she looked at me, and I still remember this like it was yesterday. You said, "The Prince?" I said, "Yes. CNN's reporting Prince died." And she looked at me, she said, "Get it confirmed." And so I went through the Associated Press wires. Associated Press followed up on it. We actually started weather with the announcement of Prince's death. And yeah, it's, just to give people an idea, and it does not, it's, like you said, the way you started that story, 6 years ago? No, it does not seem like 6 years ago. There's no way it seems like 6 years ago. Yeah, vividly remember it. All right, we've got temperatures right now in the 60s. Remember, fog is the detriment that we're putting up with on this Thursday morning. Also, too, flash flood warnings for McDonald, Newton into Berry County. Be done with our rain about late morning, and then we really set up for a delightful end of Thursday, great Friday, and most of Saturday.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, if it's Thursday, you know what time it is. Chef Anthony Fisher from Pittsburgh High School unpacks his knives in the KOAM test kitchen to reveal another amazing recipe. Hopefully this one won't be too predictable. Plus, a tornado kills 6 people working in an Amazon plant. Families of the victims claim negligence, and now they're headed to court. And a new study shows older and Black Americans receive inappropriately prescribed antibiotics. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, Amazon facing at least 2 lawsuits after its Illinois warehouse collapsed in December. 6 people were killed when a tornado ripped through the building, and the victim's family claiming negligence, citing an incident report from a county fire. Holden Kerwicki with the details.
As tornado sirens sounded across the St. Louis area, Anitra Lee Cole remembers sheltering in her fluorescent home.
I just happened to be online and I saw a news story, probably had posted like within 3 minutes about the tornado hitting Amazon.
During a December interview with 5 on Your Side, Lee Cole recounted how she had no idea at the time that 6 people, including her nephew, DeAndre Morrow, had been killed when an EF3 tornado struck the facility.
None of us connected that he worked at that particular Amazon either at that point in time. We just knew he worked for Amazon.
According to a wrongful death suit filed this week in Madison County Circuit Court on behalf of Morrow's family, he was working past his contracted hours on his day off.
He was trying to save up money because he wanted to take his girlfriend to Thailand to propose to her.
The central piece to the lawsuit, and a separate suit filed on behalf of 4 survivors claiming to suffer from PTSD, is a report from West County Fire investigator Dan Bruno stating, "I found what I believe to be 1 or more significant structural issues with the Amazon building that may have contributed to the failure of the structure."
The thing that caught my eye is that they were able to cite a number of other instances in which Amazon's buildings were destroyed through what they allege are faulty or negligence on behalf of the engineers and the contractor.
Contegra Construction issued a statement noting that Bruno isn't a licensed structural engineer. The legal expert John Lynch says that may not matter in court.
The caveat or asterisk, if you will, with this particular case has to do with the fact that it was an act of God that destroyed that building. And as everyone knows, a lot of times in insurance policies, their acts of God are exempted.
Amazon has declined to comment on the lawsuit. That is a look at today's top national story. Coming up next on the KOAM Morning News, Chef Anthony and Tanya in Studio K. Be careful what you write on a rubric when you are in charge of judging a cooking contest. find out why next.
Welcome back. We've got Chef Anthony in the studio again with us this morning, and I'm excited because we're making steak.
Yes, we are. We're going to do Sous-Vide Steak this morning.
Sous-Vide steak. What does sous-vide mean?
Sous-vide is a French cooking method like this right here, this tank. It's cooking in water, kind of like a slow cooker that you would use at home, but you can control it more. You can control the temperature exactly where you want it to be, plus or minus 1 degree.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how to do everything all the way through setup. The cookers are not very expensive. You can pick them up for about $100, $150. It's the same price as a really good slow cooker, so you're not overly investing money into it.
Okay.
But the idea behind them is you can cook exactly what you want. So for steaks...
I don't know if we can get a shot of this because we can't see that in the wide shot. There we go.
There we go.
Here we go.
And one of the nice things about this is that it's safer to use than a slow cooker, because it's not going to sit there and continuously over and over and increase heat and overcook your food to the point of mush. So we're going to see a lot more of this as shows progress through the summer.
And right now we've got water in there, and
yes.
What temperature are you trying to bring it up
I'm
to?
bringing it to 130 degrees, which is what it's at right now, because that's where I like my steak to be at, is about 130 degrees, which is right between rare and mid-rare.
Okay.
So it gives me the perfect temperature, and we're going to lay everything out for you. So we're going to do steak, potatoes, green beans, and carrots this morning. So I'm going to take my steak and get it started first. All I'm doing is trimming away a little bit of the thick fat right along the edge.
A little bit, so you're going to leave a little too.
Yes, I want to leave a little bit because fat is flavor. But I did leave, one of my signature ingredients at home because I just don't want to be too predictable for everybody.
Oh, well, I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, I couldn't resist. I had to get it in.
He may be referring to as you recall, Michael and I were both judges for the cooking competition last Friday at Pittsburgh High School. The chefs, we got to hold the chefs to a little bit higher standards, and when they pull out a recipe that's something that I've heard you talk about in the past, that's, in my mind, predictable,
It is.
I can see you making something like that.
And we had fun with it. The kids had a lot of fun. Sparta kids had a lot of fun. They had never got to do something like that. So the whole thing worked out really well.
And I think hopefully next week we'll be able to show some images and stuff. And,
oh, yes.
Actually talk a little bit more about what they made. Congratulations to the students at Sparta High School. They did excellent. They ended up getting first place. Our PHS students did wonderful as well. Every dish that came out was delicious. Every dish was delicious, even your predictable appetizer.
I appreciate that. You make me feel better. So I have our steak. I season salt and pepper. I put 2 pats of butter in it so I have a little bit of extra fat. This is a food saver bag. You can buy these at the grocery store for about $10. You get 10 of them for $10.
What's the difference between this and a Ziploc bag?
I'm about to show you. This little device, $25. Vacuum sealer.
Are these reusable or
These are
one-time use?
reusable.
Oh, nice.
Just be gentle when you wash them. And I'm going to take all the air out of it and utilize that so that nothing is in the way to help it cook. It's all right there. The juices stay right on top of the steak. I don't have to worry about anything. So we do it with all the vegetables.
Probably way more sanitary than my Ziploc method of sucking the air out of the bag.
Probably just a little more sanitary, but do it. If you're doing it at home for the family,
Michael's laughing because he does it too.
I do it. Of course. And look how beautiful that turns out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And then everything stays together. So we'll set it right to the side, and we're going to go next to green beans.
Now the food saver bags you say are $10. How much is the vacuum sealer?
$25.
That's not bad.
Yeah, Michael's asking how much this was. This was 25 for the...
25, and it comes with a little charging port.
What do you call it, a vacuum sucker?
It's a vacuum sealer, and it's designed to go right with these bags. So I have green beans, and I've already cut the ends off my green beans, and I'm going to throw a little more butter.
How many uses do you usually get out of these? I know
I
you
can
said
get
they're
5
reusable.
or 6 uses out of them.
Wow.
So, and that's with my students, and they get pretty rough.
Yeah.
So I have my butter. Again, we're going to keep this crazy, classically simple. Little salt,
Yeah,
little
what
pepper.
do you have in your seasoning here?
That's just an applewood smoked sea salt.
Oh, nice.
Add a little depth of flavor to it. And we're just going to go through and seal up each bag and get it all ready to go. And we're doing green beans, carrots, potatoes, and of course our steak. Gives us a nice classic meal.
So this is basically gives it like a steamed method when you do it this way, right?
No, not quite, because there's no addition of water to it. So everything stays inside of it. It's almost like boiling, but you're controlling the water temperature so accurately that it's not heating that high. Because a lot of times people will boil their vegetables because they're worried about overcooking them or undercooking them.
So
that's all they know.
Chef Anthony, disembodied voice over here.
If we could turn Michael's mic on.
Yeah,
if
they
it's
are.
not
It is.
Okay, good.
So when you put everything in, time-wise, because I thought it was so interesting that you say you can control that down to 1 degree. When you do this time-wise, are we separating when we put things in for how long they cook?
Well,
how do we do this?
I match everything.
That's what I was going to ask. Does everything go in at one time?
Everything can go in at one time, and one of the things that I really like about this is that I can put everything in at the same time. My steak's not going to overcook.
Exactly. That's what I was wondering. Like,
So-
I wouldn't have to be like, okay, I got to set the timer for 5
All
minutes.
right,
and
I
then
was
do that,
waiting for you
5
to put the
minutes
brown
and do
sugar
that.
and the carrots.
Brown sugar in our
Yeah.
carrots, because who doesn't like a little
I
sweetness
love
in
the
our
fact
carrots?
that you can put everything in at once.
Yeah.
And this is really simple because the investment on most people are like, well, I use a slow cooker because I can set it when I leave in the morning. Okay, so you set this when you come home, you set all this up, and then instead of sitting there going and trying to get it rushed around and get everything out of the slow cooker so it's not continuously overcooking,
right?
You can set this all up ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator, in the bags, ready to go.
Oh, they just drop it
set
in when I
that
get
up,
home.
drop it in when you get home. It will tell you when it's done because you can digitally control these from your phone or your tablet.
Oh my gosh.
And
So how are we going to know when it's done? Just
I
by
ha-
look or?
I will show you that. See, on my wonderful phone, I have an app for Anova, which is my cooker, and it tells me everything. I can track it right from my phone.
What?
So I know everything.
Technology in the kitchen. That's
So, and I connect it to the Wi-Fi at school. I don't even have to be there.
Oh, you don't even have to be like
I
in
can
your
look at my
classroom.
phone in my classroom regardless of where I'm at, and I know exactly what the temperature is, how it's cooking, if there's any problems, if the water level's too low, all that good stuff. I know without having to worry about it. I teach my students how to do creme brulee in this because it's almost foolproof to do creme brulee.
Oh my gosh.
And life is just really easy.
Okay, so the last thing we're putting in is our potatoes.
It's going to be our potatoes. And I've got some beautiful red skin potatoes here.
I noticed you're cutting them up fairly small. I mean, potatoes
Yes.
take a lot longer to cook than some of these other vegetables.
Well, I'm getting everything ready bite-sized because my carrots are 2-bite carrots. They're baby carrots.
Mhm.
So I'm cutting my potatoes down to where they're almost bite-sized. And our green beans, most people are like, well, I don't like to break my green beans in half. I don't like to break fresh green beans. I like to keep them whole. I think they look better on the plate.
Yeah.
And you can cut them with a fork when you're done.
Right.
So, and we just cut everything up. Nice bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
And we'll do one more.
Oh, you need a bag.
Yes, if you'd like to get that bag for me. And we'll throw everything right into the bag.
Doing the same seasonings on this one?
Exactly. We're going to carry through our flavors profile through the whole thing.
Why don't you, since you have the same seasonings in these, except for the carrots, you added the sugar too, why don't you mix like your vegetables and whatnot?
I will show you that at the 7 o'clock hour.
That's a great question. I didn't think about that.
I will show you at the 7 o'clock hour. Now, you can do that if you get one and you have a tank that's big enough and you get a bag that's big enough. We've done whole prime ribs. We're talking like a whole ribeye loin.
Yeah, in that.
And with that cooker. So we have done it all. There we
Okay.
go. And we'll actually, there we go. And we'll start the air, taking the air out of it. Yeah, we did a whole prime rib in it. It was so beautiful. But what's the biggest complaint when you go out to have a steak at the restaurant?
Well, it's not cooked the way I want.
It's not evenly cooked throughout the steak.
Not evenly cooked throughout the steak.
Yeah, okay.
You get
I like
to-
my steak a little right between rare and mid-rare. And it'll cook from edge to edge, exactly the
Evenly.
temperature that you want, evenly. So all you have to do is take it out, throw it in a hot skillet, and finish it up. Caramelize the outside, matter of just a
That
few
was going to
minutes.
be my question. But okay, that makes sense. That was skilled at the end.
Okay, well, all right,
And
so we need to go to break here pretty soon, but
we're gonna lay everything right into the cooker. I'll add the potatoes here and once we go to break. But we're just gonna take our bags. We're gonna lay our steak in. Upright, so we can see the top of our bag. And if you get a little clip, you can get like a chip clip or something like that you can put it all in. And then our carrots. Yeah, just kind of hold the tops up, but depending upon how you lay it in there, dictates how they do. And you push them right down in, and you let it go.
Carrots don't want to stay.
That's all right. We're going to lay everything in there. And once I put the potatoes in, they're going to lay in there just beautifully. Right. And it will go to and continue to start cooking and just go and go and go and go. And then we don't have anything to worry about.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and go to break. When we come back in our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to check out how our vegetables and steak are doing in our food saver bags.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
And we'll finish them up and we'll have a beautiful plate for you.
All right. Well, this was definitely not predictable.
Well, good.
Yes. A new way to cook steak. All right. Looking forward to see how it turns out. We'll be right back.
Topic Health Watch this morning. Older and Black Americans are being prescribed antibiotics inappropriately and at a disproportionate rate. That's a new study coming out of the University of Texas. Researchers analyzed more than 7 billion, that's right, with a B, 7 billion doctor's visits and found nearly 3/4 of antibiotics prescribed to patients 65 or older and 2/3 prescribed to Black patients were indeed inappropriate. The most common reasons for the prescriptions were illnesses not caused by bacterial infections like skin conditions, viral respiratory issues, and bronchitis. That is a look at today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Coming up, authorities capture a suspect wanted for attempted murder in Cherokee County.
Now, temperatures on the 7-day forecast look delightful, but we've got to fight off number 1, some morning rain, number 2, some morning fog. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Uniontown Fitness Center opens its doors so you can get back in shape.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:34. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
That look, not a look of consternation, but that look in my face there is trying to describe a 20-degree gap in temperatures that we're seeing from the north to the south. 47 in Fort Scott compared to 65 in Miami, and Joplin sits at 60. So, 47 is hard to complain about considering that we started the week with frost advisories and freeze warnings, but still that's a pretty wide range right there, nearly 20 degrees in between the north and the south. Now, it's no matter where you are, it's hard to escape the fog on this Thursday morning, especially when we talk about the northwestern section of southeast Kansas dipping below a mile in visibility, and now we're seeing Nevada and Stockton drop by that mile marker as well. Dense fog advisory for our counties in gray, and then you see the green at the bottom of the screen. That is because we got some good old-fashioned thunderstorms working along the south of I-44, starting to spread a little western backfill there into Cherokee County as well. I want to concentrate, though, just what's in between Neosho and Joplin, because we're already in excess of several inches. That's right, inches of rain so far in the last 24 hours alone in Newton, McDonald, and in Berry counties, leading us to flash flood warnings. Just go ahead and anticipate low-lying areas in all 3 of those counties. Once again, Newton, McDonald, and Berry counties are going to be flooded because that little pocket of rain, it just refuses to move. By this afternoon, get a chance to let some of that water recede. Temperatures rise up into the 70s, and then Friday's looking great. Beginning of Saturday's looking great as well. Remember, that Saturday rain doesn't kick in until the evening.
All right, well.
So far, no road closures coming out of those 3 counties. I reiterate, so far. I think that's going to be subject to change with the amount of rain that they picked up so far.
We'll keep an eye on that for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, police capture a man wanted for attempted murder in Cherokee County after leading them on a chase in Springfield, Missouri. That man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says a male victim in that shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Well, if you've been looking for an excuse to get back in shape before summertime, here it is. The school district in Uniontown, Kansas has reopened the Uniontown Fitness Center. It was closed to the public because of COVID. Now it's open before and after school during the week and all day on weekends. Key to access cost $10. Officials say the benefits reach the entire community.
There's a lot of education research about, the value of, physical activity and, keeping minds and bodies active, go hand in hand. So it's good for our kids, but it's also good for everybody. And again, we're in a service industry. And
the fitness center is on the southeast corner of the junior and senior high school. On this date, back in 1895, Woodville Latham and his sons demonstrate their Panopticon. Okay, it's the first movie projector that was developed in the United States, Panopticon. Although motion pictures had been shown in the U.S. for several years, the films could only be viewed one at a time in a peep show box, not projected to a large audience. Brothers Gray and Otway Latham called on their father and W.K.L. Dixon, an assistant in the Edison laboratory, to help them develop a device. They called it the Latham Loop, that would project life-sized images onto a screen in order to attract larger audiences. Even in present-day Hollywood, versions of the Latham Loop can be found in every motion picture film camera and projector.
Did you ever work in a movie theater?
I have not, no.
I was a projectionist.
You were?
I was.
Ah.
You have to start behind the counter selling popcorn and then work. Yeah, I ended up being a projectionist, and so yeah, Latham Loop. All right, Tanya, we were just talking about the lack of road closures. Let's go ahead and change our tune on that because the Missouri Department of Transportation, sure enough, as soon as Tanya and I were done talking about it, have some updates. We'll start in Newton County, where we've got a portion of Route D across the Newton and McDonald County line. It is now closed. That is because of the flash flooding. All of these are obviously going to be a result of the inordinate amount of rain and flooding. Let's transition up to the one just under Neosho, where a portion of Route D throughout Newton County closed. So once again, Route D has become our problematic area and is closed on our Thursday morning. Just on the other side of the county line in McDonald County, this is a report simply of water over a few roadways, nothing in specific. But I do want to point out, we've got water that's coming into a home in Goodman. So if you have friends and family down in the McDonald County area, specifically in Goodman, give them a holla. Make sure that they are doing okay. And we'll continually update these roadways, specifically in the Newton, McDonald, and Berry County area as we progress through the show.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, probably the story I'm most excited about this morning. Barbie gets the royal treatment as Mattel rolls out a Queen Elizabeth version of the iconic doll. Plus, gold medals are stolen after a Paralympian's vehicle is broken into. Now, police were able to recover the medals and arrest the suspect. But made us start asking the question, have you ever been the victim of a crime? We let you weigh in. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, stocks are mixed on Wednesday. The Dow gained 249 points, the Nasdaq lost 166, the S&P 500 dipped 2. Home prices are at an all-time high. The median price of an existing home went for about $375,000 in March, according to the National Association of Realtors. It's up 15% from March of 2021. Home sales have slowed for the second straight month, though, as mortgage rates rise. Number of homes sold is down 4.5% from a year ago. Well, Barbie is getting the royal treatment to honor Queen Elizabeth II's 96th birthday and her platinum jubilee. Mattel is out with a Barbie doll in her likeness. Isn't she beautiful? The doll's regal ensemble includes an ivory gown, a blue ribbon with decorations of order, a crown, and matching accessories. Of course, we'll have more on Queen Elizabeth's 96th birthday when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14 at 7. Of course, I've got the Funko Pop version of Queen Elizabeth. Now I need the Barbie version. I want the Barbie version. I need it. I'm gonna get it. And we'll leave it at that. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for something to talk about.
To the point where during the commercial break, she said, Michael, if you ever want to get me a gift, go get me the Queen Barbie.
And I'm not even upset that she's not wearing pink in this one. But if they made a Queen Elizabeth Royal line of Barbie clothes, why not? She needs a green outfit, and you've got to have the hat with it too. A green one, a pink one. Throw some corgi puppies with it.
You know what? You can have your day in the sun with this. That's fine. Where's my Wallace Simpson Barbie? Come on, Mattel. What are we doing? There's a reason that she's on the throne. And the reason she's on the throne is because of Wallace Simpson.
You cannot turn my Queen Elizabeth Barbie into another Wallace Simpson story, Michael.
But I'm trying, and I'm trying hard. This morning on our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Instapoll, story of a Paralympian in Texas. Dude breaks into the United States Olympian, gets his car broken into, and they steal his gold medals. Well, it went viral what happened, and the thief, well, he's like, I'm going to turn these medals in before something happens to me. And then later on, he gets arrested as well. So all's well that ends well. And that United States sled hockey team, they are on their way to the White House to be recognized for their Olympian efforts. Our question for you this morning is, have you ever been a victim of the crime? And unfortunately, 79% of you chiming in and saying yes, the yes that you have. A couple ways to connect each and every morning. Number one, we're straight to the Instapoll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also connect to us via Facebook at KOAM News Now. We'll be back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first, off to the Big Apple. Time to check in with our good friend, Mr. Tony.
I'm Tony Nicopol. Coming up only on CBS Mornings, Gail joins Oprah as in Winfrey to reveal her latest selection for her book club. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Bernard Shively. Specialist Shively served in the Air Force, a native of Walnut, Kansas. We thank you. Today's four-state hero, Bernard Shively.
Get a birthday list started off with Raylan Murphy celebrating her 5th birthday, a resplendent cake that looks like she's about to take down as well to celebrate. Raylan, a very happy birthday in Seneca with wishes coming from Mommy, Daddy, Roman, Ryder, Renly, and Nanny.
I think she's building.
I did that out of memorization. I made that up off the top of my head.
The picture's cropped a little bit, but I feel like that's a part of a gingerbread house, possibly.
Okay, I'm on board.
I like that. Well, she's got her little reindeer Christmas shirt on, so maybe you ate a little frosting in the process. All in all, a good day. I like it.
I do too.
All right, happy birthday, Raylan. And Cal Saporito turning 14 years old this year.
Cal, you cannot throw the football into the SUV. Come on, man.
No, it looks like he's like, Mom said, stop, let me take your picture, and then you can go.
That's how windows get broken.
Cal is in Columbus.
Happy birthday, Cal. Kendall Young with a sweet 16th birthday. Miss Kendall, a very happy birthday wish. I hope your 16th is everything that you wanted as she celebrates in Parsons.
Pretty picture. And we've got Tyler Natalini celebrating birthday number 18 this year. Tyler is in Scammon.
In St. Paul, Jody Brown celebrating a happy 47th birthday. I don't know who the little one is on the right.
She's smiling and the little girl's like,
I love, Jody's like, yeah, birthday pic, let's get this. And the one on the right is just like, great.
She's like, I should be the focus of this picture.
But Jody, I want you to have a marvelous birthday, ma'am.
That's so cute, so cute. All right, happy birthday, Jody, and happy birthday to Denny Gillard.
That's a cool picture right there.
That is a really cool picture. He says, I'm ready.
Cool
faster.
picture.
That's the signal for faster.
It is. It
Yes.
also looks like Denny could be a part of the Go-Go's video for vacation when they were water skiing. I would sign him up for that.
Look how
That's
blue
great.
that water is. Man.
All right, for all of those of you at the Guthridge Elementary School in Parsons, Miss Allie Jones is celebrating a birthday, and she is a 4th grade teacher. Allie, thank you for taking care of those kiddos, and a very happy birthday as well.
All right. And a special happy birthday coming to you from your grandkids out to Robert Hall in Erie. Happy birthday, Mr. Hall.
Jay Berry celebrating a birthday in Crestline. Jay, a very happy birthday to you.
And we've got an anniversary celebration in Pittsburgh for the Curtains. Congrats going out to John and Marianne.
Line it up at Medical Lodges, folks, because Joanna Parsons and Georgia Robinson both with birthdays at medical lodges. So if you have a chance, make sure you bebop by, track them down, and wish them a very happy birthday. And Joanna and Georgia, from all of us here at KOAM, we wish you a happy birthday as well.
And let's see, Matt Bacon is celebrating birthday number 21 this year. We got another Saporito birthday in Columbus. Holly Saporito, happy birthday.
Sydney Lehman wraps it up as Sid recognizes the big number 9. Happy birthday, Miss Sydney, in Reeds. A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. Once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Coming up when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14, need I say more? No, it's Nick Cage. If I got a story about Nick Cage, you know we're going to have fun. We'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A man wanted in Cherokee County, Kansas for attempted murder is arrested after a police chase in Springfield, Missouri. That man is 38-year-old Sean Houston. On Tuesday night, a Greene County Sheriff's deputy tried to pull over the driver of an SUV for suspicion of drunk driving. Authorities say Houston drove off but was stopped with spike strips. A woman in the vehicle was also arrested. Detectives identified Houston as a suspect in a shooting west of Baxter Springs early Monday morning. Cherokee County Sheriff David Groke says a male victim in that shooting was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. On Wednesday, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signed budget legislation into law. It will set aside $500 million to deal with future financial problems, give state employees a 5% pay raise, and increase spending across state government. The bill contains the bulk of the state's $22 billion plus budget for the 12 months beginning July 1st, aside from money for the schools, for the state's public K-12 schools. 15-year-olds in Kansas will be able to drive by themselves and to and from worship services and other religious activities starting in July. Governor Kelly signed a bill to expand driving privileges for holders of restricted licenses. The law already allows 15-year-olds to drive by themselves to and from work. The change will allow them to drive to and from religious activities from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. On Wednesday, the Miami Fire Department held a barbecue fundraiser to help pay for the restoration of a fire truck that's been part of the department since 1946. When it's restored, the truck will be used in parades and other traditions in Miami. People in the community say the truck symbolizes the longevity of the fire department and honors the men and women who've been a part of it. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Now, on top of the fog, we want to run down a list of closings, specifically Route D that runs from Newton County into McDonald County, because it is flooded right now with the inches, and yes, that is plural, inches of rain that have been coming down in that area. Flash flood warnings for Newton, McDonald, and Berry County as well until later on this morning. Now, the rain will taper off as we get into the later morning hours. Very comfortable temperatures up into the 70s. Delightful looking Friday, partly sunny skies around 80 degrees.
All right. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making weeknight Salisbury steak in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Mornings next. Amid the abrupt end of the federal mask mandate for public transportation, KVC takes a look at the lessons that we've learned from the United Kingdom.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Chef Anthony back in studio. We're going to be finishing off our Sous-Vide Steak, potatoes, and greens.
Umbrella, watch for flooded areas. Number one thing, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're doing it again today at noon.